afternoon. My name is Corina Herrera Loera. I'm the Public Information Officer for the Emergency Operations Center here in the County of Santa Clara. Welcome to our live stream today in conversation with the county. We have a very special guest with us here today, but before I introduce her to give us an update on her information, I will give just a brief general update as to our county and where we currently are at in our numbers. We have Gloria helping us in the background, helping work the magic, and she will be streaming the presentation today. Thank you so much, Gloria. Next slide, please. So this is our COVID-19 daily update. As some of you know, and it should come back on soon, we generally give just a very basic update as to where our numbers are in regards to the completed vaccination and cases of COVID-19. So as of the 21st of December, you'll see here that we have 80.8% of our residents of all ages with the completed vaccination. Good job, Santa Clara County. Obviously, we're not at 100%, which is affecting currently our county now that we have this new variant with Omicron, as some of you or have probably, or all of you have probably heard by now. In regards to our new cases, 7-day rolling average, we have 187 as of the 21st of December. But as we are getting the numbers on a daily basis, the numbers are going up. So you most likely will see that number going up since it is the average of the 7-day rolling average. Next slide, please. And here you'll see in regards to the vaccination amongst Santa Clara County, and I want to just focus over here on the right of the different ethnicities that we have in our county. You will see, and I think, Gloria, I'm just sharing your other screen, is that you will see based on the ethnicities that the Hispanic Latino community are the ones, and the white, the Caucasian are the ones that have the lowest vaccination. As of now, as you all know, and I'll be going over the specific information, we are not only encouraging everybody to get their vaccinations, but also their boosters. As of now, we know that that has been determined from going to the hospital. I have a personal experience. My husband tested positive 2 weeks ago for COVID, and luckily he had zero symptoms, literally zero symptoms. We attest that to the fact that he has both vaccinations. He has his booster shot. So it works. And that's my personal. Now coming back to Public Information Officer, obviously we are encouraging everybody as a county to get their vaccines and booster shots. Next slide, please. And so as you might all know, children ages 5 to 11 are able to get their vaccines now. And their dose is only 1/3 of that than we use for the adults. The adolescents, 12 to 17, are able to. And now the adults, 18 and over, of course, have been for a while. But the boosters, so most recently, in a couple of weeks ago, we had it go to 16 and over. It was 18 and over for a while. But now we are giving the boosters to those that are 16 and over and have received either their Pfizer or Moderna over 6 months ago, or their Johnson & Johnson over 2 months ago. And then additional doses are also given at the vaccine sites. Next slide. So again, everyone is encouraged to get their initial or booster shots of the COVID vaccine. Vaccines are our best available tool to help keep people safe and mainly healthy. Get tested regularly. Everyone should get tested if you have any symptoms or plan to travel or go to any holiday gatherings. Next slide, please. And so as I mentioned, we are encouraging everybody 16 and over to get their booster shots. Everyone 16 and over is eligible. And you are able to get a different, so if you got a Moderna, and you get Pfizer, you are able to mix them. And but definitely make sure you come to the vaccine sites with your card and information. If you have that, I'm sure those of us that are vaccinated are all now carrying our picture. So just make sure you bring that. And if you don't have it, just let them know when you get there. And again, just a reminder, as you hear, our websites, the scfreevax.org will provide you with an opportunity to make an appointment if that's best for you, or also give you a list of those sites that you can just show up and walk in. We also have a list of those sites. So scfreevax.org, you're able to make your appointment and also look at our most recent schedule. Next slide, please. And we know that the holidays are coming for some. Some of us have celebrated. Some of us celebrated winter solstice yesterday. Some of us are looking forward to Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, the Gregorian New Year, whatever it is that you celebrate around this time. We hope it's a gentle holiday for you all. And then just a reminder, if you are going anywhere and traveling far, the recommendation is to take the test at least 3 days before, so that you're able to get your result right away, right before you leave. Make sure you call that number, make an appointment if that's best for you. Unfortunately, we have seen many who show up thinking that they're going to get their results right away, whether it's that same day or next day. And that is most likely not going to be the case in our county sites. There is at least a couple days to get your your test result. So make sure that you plan ahead. If you are planning to travel safely. As we know, Omicron is really spreading a lot faster than Delta. So we just want to make sure that you're safe. And if you end up having it, right, that you end up having to quarantine for your safety and the safety of others, we ask you to make sure to test before you travel anywhere, and or go to any holiday gatherings, with more people than in your family, in your immediate family, or in your circle. We are not, at the point as a county, we're not shut down. I know a year ago, it's kind of giving us flashbacks of when the recommendations were to, stay at home. Obviously, we've opened up a little bit more since last year, but in regards to numbers and the situation, we want to make sure that we keep it at a point where it's not out of control, because as we know, it could easily spread and it could easily get back to that point. So if we all do our part, then we should be good. We get vaccinated, if we take our test. If we're against being vaccinated and you're not, then take your test, and be responsible that way, just so that we don't pass on the COVID-19 or Omicron now, as we know it. Next slide, please. And yes, same thing for New Year's. I know we won't see each other. We won't have another community forum prior to then. Some of you may celebrate the Gregorian New Year next week. So make sure that, again, you're just safe, and that you're able to not just keep your immediate family safe, but also those around you. If you decide to go to any restaurants or shop or whatever it is that you choose to do, that we all do it in a safe and healthy way. Next slide, please. And again, just helpful phone numbers that I'd like to go over on a biweekly basis in case you do need them. The COVID support line, 808-7770. And I'll skip a few here, just to highlight a few of those. They're all very important. Make sure to take them down if you think you will need them. But the mental health services number for our county behavioral health, 1-800-704-0900. And our crisis hotline number, you never know if you might need it. It's 24 hours, 7 days a week, 1-855-278-4204. Or you can also text RENEW to 741-741. Next slide, please. And then just additional phone numbers. If the only number you remember is a 211, that's fine. You can call 211, ask for resources within our county in the different languages, and then they can guide you to the office. If that's the only number that you remember, or you're somewhere and you're in need, you can call our center at 211 and then get directed again to the office that you might need. Okay. Well, thank you so much. And now We're going to bring in our guest for today. We have Teresa Castellanos here. And she is, hi Teresa, she's with the isolation and quarantine team, the coordinator for our county, doing a lot of work, as we all know. Thank you, Teresa, for agreeing to being here and giving us an update as far as resources go in our county from your office, and how you and your team there can best support our community during this difficult time, for those of us. When my husband tested positive, we're blessed that he didn't have any symptoms and that he had a place to quarantine. But I know that, and that I was able to have my daughter right away and at her father's house. But I know that a lot of us aren't as lucky to have a space in place. So if you can please give us those resources and information. And then just to remind the audience, thank you for joining us. We'll have time at the end for any questions and answers. So she'll be here to be able to answer any questions as well. So I know Gloria has your presentation up, so we'll go ahead and bring her in.
Okay, thank you for the invitation to share this important information. So I'm going to give you quite a bit of information. You don't have to memorize it. And I block my camera because I distract myself. So I will talk about two important programs that currently exist for renters. And a lot of this is because we know that there was an economic impact to COVID and that a lot of people lost jobs, that a lot of people had to cut down the number of jobs, and that there was a rental crisis even before COVID hit. So once COVID hit, we know that there's a situation where a lot of people owe back rent. And we're going to talk about two programs that are available to help renters in this time of stress and crisis. Next. So I'm going to talk about two programs that are here available for renters. There are many other programs, but I'm going to talk about two in particular. I'm going to talk about the state program, and it's called the Emergency Rental Assistance Program, and it's available for people who have debt on their rent from April 2020 to March 22. So what this program does is it can give you a maximum of 12 months of rent past due and up to 3 to 6 months of future rent if you qualify for the 100% of the assistance available. And some people might qualify for a smaller percentage of the assistance is available depending on their circumstances. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a future slide. It can also assist with 100% of some utility bills, including internet. There is a maximum of 12 months for utility bills that are paid. And it also does include expenses related to having to move in your housing. So this is the state program that currently exists. If you watch TV, there's a lot of commercials that come up about this, but there's not a lot of detail. It just says that the program is available. The other program that I want to talk to you about is the Isolation and Quarantine Program. And this is the Santa Clara County program that has been created for people who are sick with COVID or have been sick with COVID in the last 90 days. And the idea of this program is to give some financial assistance so that people can stay home while they're sick if there is no sick time at their job site. So if you are sick and there is no sick time that is being offered, the idea is that the county can offer some rental assistance or financial assistance. You get to choose food, so a box of food that feeds you for 10 days while you're in isolation, and a hotel room if you're living in living conditions that do not allow you to isolate because there's too many people in the home, or if you're living in a car, or if you're homeless or living in a shelter. There is hotel room that can be provided so that you don't get other people sick. Next. I do want to mention briefly that for a lot of people, they have the concern that public charge could be an issue because of future immigration statuses that people want to change. The federal government has declared that in the context of COVID, any assistance related to the pandemic is not considered public charge. So that means testing, vaccination, hospitalization. They've also stated that requesting emergency rental assistance, and these two programs are emergency rental assistance, are not considered public charge. And if you would like to get more information, you can go to the USCIS website and type in public charge and COVID, and you can see this information. Next. I'm going to talk now very briefly about the emergency rental assistance. I'm giving you a overview of it, so it's very brief. And we do have other presentations where we go more in detail about what you need to actually apply, because it will ask you for a lot of information and proof of your information, but it is a program that does exist to help you at this moment. Next. So what does this state program do? As I mentioned, it can provide up to 12 months of past due rent, and it could be I owe all of the rent, or I owe the total of every monthly rent, or it could be I owe a portion of the rent because I was making payments. So it can provide up to 12 months of rent that is past due, with 3 to 6 months of future rent. But because the program ends in March, then if you apply now, you would only be able to get to March. So it's actually only 3 months. It is not counted as income for renters, so it does not have to be reported in your taxes. And if you're receiving any state funding, it will not impact any of that state funding or federal funding, because it's not meant as income. It is meant to help you in this housing emergency. Utility bills can be included, but if you're applying for a utility bill, the household member who is on the bill has to be part of your application, so that there has to be a connection with this person is in my household and the bill is in his or her name, or it's in the person who's applying. But there has to be a connection to the application and the household in terms of the name of the person on the application. Internet can also be included, but cable cannot. PG&E can be included as part of this program. The water bill cannot be included as a standalone bill. So the state has other programs that they have that assists people who are behind on their water. So you would have to apply for a separate program to help with water. But if the water is part of a general utility bill that is charged with the rent, for example, all your utilities are combined together in one portion of the rent, then it can be included. You will be asked to identify yourself and provide an official ID. So that can come from any government that says this is your name. We do recommend that you use your official name, because a lot of times people change their names or use different versions of their names, and then it's not on your ID. So that will cause complications. So we do recommend, and you do have to submit a picture of your ID. So we recommend that you use the name on your official ID. The applicant will be asked information regarding household members. So you'll have to list all of your household members, including birth dates, and you will have to provide IDs, but not for minors. The application will also ask for every month, how much of the rent did you pay and how much is owed. So making sure that you develop a list of every month from April 2020 to the present, and that way you can document how much you owe. And you will be asked to provide the landlord's information. So because this is to pay the debt for the housing, so you will need a name and contact information for the landlord. And you will be asked to provide supporting paperwork. So you will have to scan documents to be able to apply to this program. Next. So these are the requirements. The first requirement is that you provide proof of financial hardship due to COVID, and that you are at risk of homelessness or housing instability. So having proof that, okay, I owe this much rent is enough. You have to be below 80% of the area median income, which is very high in Santa Clara County. It's over 80,000 for one person. So a lot of people do qualify for this program. And when you create your account to sign up for this program, they will ask you for a password that includes 12 characters, one uppercase and one lowercase, a number, and a special character. I do recommend that if you decide to apply, you figure out what the password is because you will have to remember it. And so just think about, hey, what is easy to remember that has 12 characters and can meet all this other information that the password needs to include. Um, because if you set it up and then can't access your application, it'll make it a lot difficult. There is a phone number you can call, but it because of the number of requests, it might be difficult to create a new password. So we recommend that you think about your password before you apply. And if you're watching this and are thinking of applying, go ahead and take a picture of this slide so that you can have the information about the eligibility requirements. And I'll wait for a couple of seconds before I move on. Next. So what are the documents that I need to apply? Again, I would take a picture of this if you're thinking of applying or want to share the information with somebody else. You need a government issued ID. You need to verify your address. If your current address is on your government issued ID, then you don't need to do something separately. But if your current address is not on your official ID, then you will need to verify in some other way that you actually live where you say you live. And so that could be the PG&E bill is in my name, or any other bill that you receive. Um, you will need an email address. All of this is done through email. There are some parts where you can call by phone, but the majority of it is done by email. And you need something that verifies how much rent you own, which is something that you can typically get from your landlord saying this is how much is owed at this point. And then you need a verification of income. And you only need one of these. You don't need all of these that I'm going to list right now. You only need one. And they include, it could be your tax return from 2020. It could be your W-2 or your 1099-G for 2020 if you were unemployed. It could be your current check stubs. It could be proof of participation in a federal or state program such as CalWorks or CalFresh. If you are paid in cash, have zero income, or no proof of income, you can still apply. This will be addressed in the application. There will be an attestation that will ask you to fill out the paper to fill it out, and you could declare that I get paid in cash, or I have no income, or I have no proof of income. And if you are asking for assistance with utility bills, you will need to provide the actual bills. So, for example, the PG&E bill is 9 pages. You'll have to provide all 9 pages of the PG&E bill that states how much debt you currently have. So next. And this has to be after April 1st, 2020 for any of the utility bills. Next. So just quickly, some expectations in this state program. There is no information requested regarding criminal history, citizenship, or immigration status. And as we already mentioned, regarding cash or zero income, there can be an attestation in the application if there is no documentation to verify income. Remember, though, that this is a government application, so make sure you always put what is true and correct. You will have an account that you can access to see your status immediately. We recommend that you log in every 2 weeks. It may take 2 to 3 months for someone to actually call you, and they will call you once. But you can start checking your application a week after you apply. And if there's anything that is pending or there's anything that needs more clarification, they will tell you on your account, we need you to do this, and that way you keep up with any changes or additional requests that are being made in the application process. You can also apply only for the assistance that you are responsible. So say, for example, that I live in a 3-bedroom home. I am only renting 1 room. I can also apply. Ideally, everyone in the household applies so that you pay off all the debt. But say I'm the only one that wants to apply or feels safe enough to apply, you can still apply for the debt owed. So you can apply just for your 1 room that you are renting. Next. So now I'm going to talk about our county program. And this is the program for people who are sick with COVID. Um, and the goal of this program is to keep people from going to work. So if you are sick with COVID or have been sick for the last 90 days, you would qualify for this program. And what this program does is it tries to cover your income so that you're not forced to go to work. So it has to be that my work situation does not pay me sick time, and that has an economic impact on my ability to stay home and not go to work. And so this is for people who've tested positive in the last 90 days or lived with someone that has tested positive in the last 90 days. And what it does is offer financial assistance or rental assistance. They can do a food delivery and also cleaning supplies. And as I previously mentioned, they can also provide a hotel room if your living conditions are such that you cannot isolate, and you would expose other people because there are too many people in the home and there's no way you could not spread the virus. So these are the three elements of this program. Next. So in order to qualify for this program, you have to prove that there was loss of income due to COVID exposure. You have to be a resident of Santa Clara County and be a participating city. Not every city participates in this program. Every city participates in the hotel part, and 5 or 6 cities participate in the rest of the elements of this program. If you live in a city that is not participating, if you call our phone number, we will also give you the contact phone number for the city that you live in, because that means they are managing their own program in response to COVID. And you have to also receive income at or below 80% of the area median income. So these are all the qualifications for this county program. Next. So these are the cities that participate and how they participate. So the cities that offer the full range of programs are Saratoga, San Jose, Morgan Hill, Milpitas, Los Altos Hills, Los Altos, and if you live in the unincorporated part of Santa Clara County. If you live in the other cities, they also have programs, but they're not centralized in one county, one stop site where you can do the whole process for everything. So next. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the difference between the financial assistance or the rental assistance. So if you call the phone number, and I will be giving you the number shortly, they will ask you if you are sick with COVID and have no income because you can't go to work. That means no sick time. Then that is being paid. Then you can apply for $2,000 for one lost salary, and 2,500 for 2 or more individuals who lose their salary and have to isolate. These funds can be used in any way you need to use them. There is no rules about how that money gets used. We also provide rental assistance and assistance with utilities. This could be up to $5,000 for a month's worth of rent, and it can include utilities. Here, the check does go directly to the landlord. This process is much longer. We need rental agreements. We need IDs for everyone that lives in the household. We need proof of income for everyone that works in the household. So this rental assistance and utilities does exist. It is a little bit more complicated to get through. So most people pick the option of financial assistance because you can get the 2,000 to 2,500 without a whole lot of requirements for documentation. But you do have that option. Next. So if you decide to apply for the financial assistance, and that's the 2,000 to 2,500, what you would need to provide is some kind of ID, your proof that you live in Santa Clara County and in one of the participating cities. And if you don't have proof on your ID, as I previously mentioned, we'd have to see some kind of bill or something that proves that you live where you say you live. And then people need to sign a self-certification through DocuSign. So it's an email that is sent to you where you need to include your signature and date. And you make a statement that you have lost income, and that because you have lost income, you have a financial need due to COVID. And those are all the steps to qualify and apply for the county program for people who are sick with COVID. Next. So, what are the expectations in terms of the county isolation and quarantine program? It is that you will make a phone call. The coordinator or one of the coordinators will call you back within 24 hours. And when they call you back, they will fill out your application right as they're speaking to you. So they will ask you your name, your address, have you tested positive for COVID, how many people in your household, and they will explain to you the whole program, which is what I just explained right now, about what you need in order to qualify. And once they explain it to you, they will also send you an email where the email will say, this is what we need for you to continue to proceed with your application. Once they've explained everything that is needed, there will be 3 attempts to communicate and connect with you in order to finish the application process. If you do not respond in the 3 attempts, they will close the case. But if after the 3 attempts their case is closed, you can call again and the case will be open. The limit is that 90-day period. So if you have been sick in the last 90 days, you still qualify. If it was more than 90 days, you may no longer qualify. And then once you've submitted your paperwork, the client will receive assistance within 7 to 10 days. So you can receive the check for $2,000 to $2,500 within 7 to 10 days. You will receive, if you need food, they will, or cleaning supplies, you will receive that in 1 to 2 days. And if you need hotel assistance because of the living situation you're in, you'll probably receive that in less than 24 hours. And that is the whole program. Next. So in terms of the state program, can the state, and that's the ERA program, help stop an eviction? Technically, it's supposed to be able to. If someone has submitted an application, they cannot be evicted while they're waiting for an answer to their process. They're not supposed to be able to be locked out of their apartment. And if it goes through the court proceedings, a judge is not supposed to be able to evict someone. So in the state of California, there is a process for eviction that needs to be followed. Once you get the 3-day notice, or once you get the court summons that say someone's trying to evict you, there is a process that needs to be followed. So you don't just immediately just leave the household, but they need to take their follow-up steps. And in the state program, they are trying to expedite people who have received the 3-day notice, or people who are in court proceedings, or people who are very low income. So those are the groups of people that will be prioritized in this state California rental assistance program. Next. So if for some reason an eviction process starts while you're applying or while you're thinking of applying, please take a picture of this slide. These are the legal resources in Santa Clara County that can help you in your eviction process. It's the Law Foundation, Project Sentinel, or court-mediated programs, and those are at the courthouse. And the idea is that these agencies help you in that eviction process. They provide free legal assistance. And if you call them, they are also prioritizing the callbacks for people who have received the 3-day notice or are in the court proceedings for eviction. But they do have a lot of websites on a lot of webinars and they have a lot of webinars on their website about what are your protections as a renter in the state of California, because a lot of things have changed since January 2020. And then local cities pass certain ordinances that also could help if you are in an eviction process. So they do have videos on their website that explain your rights and the process. Next. So if you are sick with COVID and you are going to lose income and have no sick leave in your work, you can call the assistance line for isolation and quarantine. And their number is 408-808-7770. You can take a picture of this and you can share it. As we have already mentioned, it does provide hotel placements if that is an issue in your household and you cannot isolate and quarantine. It provides a box of food for 10 days and cleaning supplies if necessary. And it can provide financial assistance or rental assistance if necessary. So, and here is the number again, it's 408-808-7770. And it's meant to help you stay at home so that others don't get sick um, during that 10-day period. Next. So, in terms of the state program, how do I start with that? Well, you can start your own application as mentioned in the previous websites. Um, you can call a local agency, and I'll show you the logos of the local agencies that are helping. You can start the process and decide, oh, this is too complicated. I actually want help with it. No problem. You can go to one of the local agencies and they will help you. Um, but just remember, you have to remember what your password was, because if you don't remember what your password was, it's going to be really hard to help you. The website has resources in English, Spanish, Korean, Vietnamese, Chinese, and Tagalog. Um, and then if you speak another language, it's not these 5 languages, they do have the Google Translate in the right hand corner. So you can um, ask the page to translate, and Google's gotten better in their translations. If you text 211-211, they will give you initial screening questions for the state application. They will link you to the website. So just 211-211, and they'll ask your language of preference and connect you to Housing is Key. So Housing is Key is the website for the state program. Next. So here, this is the website. And so it is Housing is Key, or you could go to La Vivienda es Clave, or you can Google housing.ca.gov. So this is actually the picture of the website to apply. And again, you can apply on your own or you can get assistance. And it says resources for renters and landlords in this rental crisis. So next. So these are the local agencies that the state of California is working with to help you apply if you decide that you need the assistance. So Santa Clara County, we're helping people apply. If you call one of our phone numbers, we can give you a reference of where to go. Project Sentinel is also helping. International Rescue Committee is also helping. The city of San Jose is helping, and they have 2 locations. One is on at the Franklin McKinley School District, and the other one is at City Hall. And Santa Clara County has a Center Road, not Center, Story Road location that they're helping, a community hub, and it's right next to Cardenas, where they are assisting the community. Catholic Charities is also assisting the community, and the San Francisco Housing Development Corporation is also helping in Santa Clara County. So all these agencies have, if you go to their websites, have the information about how to access this assistance. Some of them will do it online with you. Some of them will do it with a Zoom, and some of them have walk-ins if you prefer to be a walk-in. So next. And so with that, that's our whole presentation. Questions?
Thank you so much. That is so much information, but all of it's so important and relevant for many of us during this time. So I do see a few questions on the stream. I'm going to go ahead and go down the list and just read them off. Some of them are related to the first piece of the presentation of our stream today, and some of them are related to this. The first one, we have Frank O'Hearn. Welcome. And he was wondering how many hospitalized and how many deaths. And just so you all know, we also had Blake here who posted the website. Thank you so much, Blake. And this one is for the CDC. And then we also have the website for the Santa Clara County with that answer. I did look during the break, and the last time it was updated was the same number as reflected in our presentation. So the last number is as of December 21st, and it has a 7-day rolling average of 100 and I think I said 87. Um, but the actual numbers are there, so that if you are interested in looking that up on a daily basis or regular basis, you are able to go in there and get the actual numbers at those websites. So thank you so much, Blake, also for joining us and putting those resources on there. We have Tamara Mosawani Alvarado. Hola, Corina. Thank you for this info. My booster shot experience was very smooth at the fairgrounds. Thank you, Tamara, for joining us, and thank you for sharing your experience. We hope that's the same for everybody else. Mine was as well. So thank you for joining us today. And then we have Monica Miki Pirosoli, who is wondering, Teresa, if there's any help for PG&E assistance. I know you mentioned some of that, and I don't know if you have it offhand or if you have an answer for Monica.
In the state program, if people decide to apply for the whole package of rental assistance, PG&E is included. I will also say that PG&E has created special programs because of the pandemic, and so I would also follow up with PG&E if that's the only issue you have.
Okay, thank you. And thank you, Monica, for joining us. I have a couple questions, Teresa, that I have here in regards to the program. Some of the information you might have covered, and maybe we just need repeated, or some might be just new information. My first question is, what if someone lives in a home with multiple households? Can they still apply?
Yes, the answer is yes. And we mentioned that briefly in the presentation, and we gave you a shorter version of the presentation than we typically do. But both the state and the county take into account that we're living in a housing crisis era, and that a 3-bedroom house could be 3 households or more. And so if you are living with multiple families, you can apply for either one of these programs. You just have to prove that you are a separate part of that. You guys are not financially supporting each other, but that the family unit supports itself. And so just providing that information is enough to apply for either one of these programs.
Thank you. And just reminding the public that you're able to put any of your questions if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook on the comment section. And I'll keep asking a few other questions unless I see any pop up from the public. The next question is, can a landlord apply to the program if the renter is behind on rent payments?
Yes, the landlord can apply. Um, and it's recommended that both the landlord and the tenant apply, because that way you get to more of the debt that has accumulated in that rental unit. Um, so, when possible, I mean, we recommend that both apply, and that way most of the debt is paid off. If the landlord does not apply, the tenant can still apply on their own. Um, and but the state will try to communicate with the landlord, because obviously this is a rental issue. And if the landlord doesn't respond, the renter will receive the money with the agreement that they will pay off their debt.
Thank you. And can a renter apply to the ERA even if the landlord does not want to, like,
Yes,
participate, be a part of the program?
yes, which I previously answered the question before it was asked. But
Mhm.
yes, the landlord can apply on their own. Um, Sorry, I said that wrong. The renter can apply on their own. They don't need the landlord to apply. But if the landlord decides to apply, they will need the renter to fill out some paperwork. And so the best circumstances to cover the most debt is that both apply. Sometimes the conditions don't allow for that, and the rentee can apply on their own.
Okay. And this next question sounds like you've answered it, but I think it's important to just rinse and repeat and make sure that we're understanding correctly, depending on what area we fall under. And I know a lot of people also will see this video later on YouTube, so just to make sure we're getting the information out. So, can a renter apply if they are subleasing?
Yes, a renter can apply if they're subleasing. But I mean, you have to think about it. Obviously, if I'm subleasing and the landlord doesn't know that I'm subleasing, okay, I'm not going to communicate that to the landlord, but I have my own landlord, which is the person who has the lease in their name. So, you know, my cousin's name is on the lease. I rent a room from him. I can apply for this, but my landlord is not my cousin's landlord. My landlord is my cousin because he's on the lease and he's renting to me. So as long as a letter is supplied that includes, you know, I rent to this person, this is how much this person pays me, um, we live at this address. Yes, someone who is subleasing can also apply for this. Obvious, and we've already talked about that if you're several households in a house, the different households can also apply. But ideally, if everyone applies, then we pay off all the debt versus just paying off a piece of the debt.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes we don't have the best conditions, but we can still take advantage of this important opportunity.
Yeah. And it sounds like the best thing is to apply. And I mean, at the end, you might get the answer that you don't get it, but the best case scenario would be that you all get it, like you said.
The best thing is to apply
Yeah.
because it is a program that exists right now. And even if you started the eviction process, apply because this can stop the eviction process as soon as you get the eviction letter. Apply for it. I mean, I have never in my lifetime seen this kind of program that the state of California says, "Oh yeah, I'll pay for a year of your rent backwards that you owe and a few months forward." I mean, this is an important opportunity to take advantage of. And I think as parents with children, our
Mhm.
kids know when parents are stressed.
Yeah.
And many parents are stressed right now. And it's hard to learn when your family is stressed about housing. And this is, I think, the biggest crisis after actually being sick with COVID is the housing situation, because the housing situation was already hard before COVID started. And it's gotten harder with COVID. So, really important to take advantage of this important opportunity. It's really open to everybody because of the information that it asks for and that it doesn't ask for. So it's open to anyone that wants to apply to it. And it's there. I won't say that it'll last forever and that it'll cover everything, but it's an opportunity that exists now.
Yeah. And I'm wondering, do applicants need a social security number or an ITIN number to apply?
No, they don't. They just need their name and some proof of identity. And that could be issued from the US government, the Mexican consulate, the Colombian embassy. Um, but you need some kind of official ID. And the application also gives you options of what other kinds of IDs can be submitted. And the agencies, if you call them and you need assistance, can also help you think about, okay, what other ID could work.
Okay. And then I know that you talked about the two different programs today. And I'm wondering, can applicants receive help from both programs, the isolation and quarantine, and then also the state ERA program?
If they qualify, they can receive help from both programs. But say, for example, I was sick in March, so I got assistance from Santa Clara County in March. So when I apply to the state program, I will not be able to apply for March because I already received assistance for March. But I can apply from April through December because I did not get that county assistance. So as long as I meet the eligibility requirement, I can apply for both, but I will not be paid twice for 1 month.
Okay. And if applicants do not qualify for one of the programs, could they qualify for the other?
Technically, yes, because say, for example, I got sick with COVID, but I got paid sick leave from my work. So that means I would not qualify for the county program because I'm already getting paid sick days. So there is no additional money that I will get from this program. But I've been impacted by the pandemic. I'm behind on my rent. I have a debt. Can I apply for this program? Yes, you can. So if
Okay.
you didn't qualify for one, it doesn't mean you don't qualify for the other.
Okay. And the best message that I've heard all day is apply. If you are in need of any one of these resources and services, apply. And the best case scenario would be that you end up getting them both. I don't see any other questions here from the audience. I'll give a few more minutes here. I'll ask my last question, Teresa, and it's more on a personal basis, I know the holiday times aren't happy ones for all of us. For some of us, um, it might be a little too stressful sometimes. And so I'm just wondering, are you doing anything different this holiday season to have a gentle holiday season for you and your family?
I think what we're going to do is brief visits. Um, Normally, we hang out with family all day for days on end. Because we did have COVID in our household and we have people who are vulnerable in their health, I think we're going to do brief visits and we're going to try to stay outside when we can stay outside and obviously be masks. And we'll make sure we always wear our masks. And we're all vaccinated and we all have the booster shot. But, things change and at the same time they stay the same, so it's really important that we continue to do our part to take care of our community and the people that we love, um, because there are unfortunately, it continues to be a life and death situation, and we need to make sure we take care of each other, and take care of ourselves.
Yes. And with that, I don't see any more questions. So with that, we'll go ahead and close today, unless you have anything else to add for us, Teresa, today. I really appreciate your time and coming on here to share those resources with our community.
The only thing I would add is this program does exist. Take advantage of it because it can relieve a lot of stress. And I know that the housing stress is a big deal. This program won't last forever, but it exists now. And it's meant to help our community and to help prevent homelessness. So do everything possible to be able to take advantage of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa, and hope everybody has a gentle holiday season. And we'll see you again in 2 weeks. And Teresa, thank you again for your time and your information that you shared with us today. Take care,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Stay safe. Bye.